Good morning. Welcome to Spy Money. Going to do the market brief on public forum this morning. Try to let people know what we do and how we work our Discord channel and our trades and so forth. I'm more of a futures trader. I love futures. It's you trade at 23 hours a day, 5 days a week. And for those with a small account, there is no PDT, so you do not have pattern day trade issues. And you can actually trade with a small account. You don't need a whole lot. I recently switched over to a brokerage called AMP, and it's ampfutures.com. And the account should be open today. I've been practicing on their platform, really like it. We'll see how that goes once the account gets opened. Again, that should be today. So margins are small, where you have with TD Ameritrade, the margin for one ES contract is $13,200. So you have to have $13,200 in your account to trade one mini future. So if you wanted to trade forward, then you'd have to have roughly over $50,000 in your account to do that, and it ties it up until that trade's over. So I don't like that. So with AMP, it is $400 per contract. Yes, $400. So with AMP, it's actually better for me because I could trade 10 ES contracts for $4,000, where 10 with TD Ameritrade would be, $130,000. So it's actually a lot better. The TOS is good for like trading options, and that's really about it, because the rest of it's a little bit lagging. So when you're trying to get in and out of a trade, it slows you down a little bit. Where the AMP so far, using the demo version, which is live trading, is actually right on the money. So I think it'd be pretty good. I've got my windows open, so ignore the birds and the dogs and such. I live at the beach, and it is nice outside. So don't hate. And so let's start with the ES. ES has been making some moves lately, and let's go back to... let's see here. I've got some alerts going off, and I can't hardly see the screen. Alerts on the AMP. It tells me when certain things happen within my trading strategy. When it happens, it gives me an alert so that I can jump in and get involved on that trade. So it's actually really good. I like it. So far, so good on AMP. But we have been a general uptrend since in March. We've been going up. In the last month, we have been going up, dropping down. So it's been staying in the kind of a channel. So if you look at this, a good channel is running right on through here. So yeah, it's been kind of running right on through there. It's more of a zone than anything. And if we do the zone to let you see it a little better, it's actually been staying kind of all on through here. So right through there is your zone on this. And that's not an exact, but just to give you an idea of where ES has been going. So where are we going to go today? Tomorrow is supposed to be when the Feds come in and pump up the market. And yeah, there's been disagreements about that. They say they're pumping the bonds and so forth. There's one guy in our group that, Rob, we batter back and forth about it, but charts don't lie. The chart shows every time they pump it, ES goes up. So that tells me where they're putting their money. It's in the futures. When they put it in the futures, what happens to all the other equities? They follow right along. So they're not, the ES mini future is listed as an equity. He says that they're not supposed to legally do that, but the government does what they want. When they're supposed to be pumping bonds and the bonds are dropping, and the futures are going up, that tells me the futures is where the money is going. If you're pumping something and putting a lot of money in it, it goes up. So the bonds are going down. So believe what you want on that. Drink the Kool-Aid. Or don't drink the Kool-Aid, that is. So on this one, we have been going somewhat sideways. We have a type of head and shoulders going on right now. We have a shoulder right here. We've got the head. And now we're developing this shoulder over here. So by developing that shoulder, there's a chance that this may go ahead and continue to go up. But today, they're supposed to pump the market tomorrow But as it turns out, they started last night. So you can see it right here. This is when they pumped it on Monday. They said they were going to pump it, and this is the pump. And then it's just been kind of slowly zigzagging down as a sell-off. And then they're supposed to pump the market tomorrow, but I even said in our Discord group that I felt that it would be on Thursday. Well, it's really funny that we started kind of going up a little bit there, but really right here is midnight. And then all of a sudden it just takes off. So a little bit before midnight is when they did it. They pump the market after hours. They don't do it when the retail can make the money. So they will usually pump it until morning, and then it'll usually sell off. And if you look at this, this is the shoulder that we were talking about. If we go back and look at it again, this is a 1 hour chart. So right there's one shoulder. And if you look at a price level, isn't that funny how we're right here and right there, straight across? So I think this will probably pump up there, and then Friday will be a huge sell-off. I think this morning it'll start consolidating over a little bit, and then sometime toward the end of today, like a typical Thursday, it'll probably start selling off. I believe that we are going to be heading way down, and by heading way down, let's see, let me get this one. See if I can change this over to get my alerts to show up on the other screen. Let me just shut that down. The alerts are driving me nuts. I can't see the screen.
Disconnected.
There we go. So now the alerts are off. You couldn't see that, but I could see it on my screen. It was just like a whole wall of alerts going from right here over to here, and it just kept flooding my screen right up through here. It's great when you're trading because it lets you know what's going on, but may have to adjust those a little bit. I've got them on 5 futures, and every time a certain thing happens on my strategy, then it will drop. And if you want to know what my strategy is, go to SpyMoneyLLC.com. There's teaching courses on there. You can sign up for one, and the one that I'm talking about is called Strategy or Scalping, How to Scalp Options. And that strategy will actually work on futures or equities or anything. So if you just ignore the options part, that strategy will work on the other. So, and I'm going to do another one based on how to use that strategy for future contracts and so forth. So there'll be another course on that, and it's going to be I'll be using it on the AMP futures brokerage. That's where I'll be using it, and I'll do that next week. So anyway, this right here, you've got a type of head and shoulders going on. Will it continue to go up? It possibly could. Anything can happen in this market. And if you look at this trend, we have a trend that is somewhat not really a good trend, but you've got a touch here, it's breaking through here, and then you've got the touch right there. So this is not really what I would call a good trend. If this is down here, but then you've only got, say, you've only got 2 touches. So if this comes down and touches that and then bounces off, which could happen, then we could be going up. But I personally think that we have a head and shoulders going on. And based on the day that we are right now, we're on a Thursday. This is actually pumping up. This is on Thursday. So we could come up. We could potentially come right on up into here, which would be the 28.97 area. But I think that we're probably going to come up, touch this 28.85 area, somewhere on through there, maybe 28.90. If you look at this right here, you've got a fib or a pivot right here, which is 28.87. We're probably going to come up, touch that, and then we're probably going to sell off a little bit and just kind of go back and forth and consolidate the majority of the day. At the end of the day, I would say that we will probably end up selling off. So when we sell off, that will be the typical Friday, and that's what everybody will say. Well, it's Friday, everybody's taking profit. Well, it's funny how all of this lines up for the day that it's supposed to be. Now, that's not coincidental. So I believe that we'll end up selling off, and I don't know the Fed schedule for next week. I haven't looked, but if it starts selling off, we could potentially go ahead and start selling off all next week. It's coming. It's just a matter of when. Right now, we are in a huge consolidation period of really from right here to about right here. There is your base. if you look at a bigger chart, there's your base. So we're actually staying within this right here. As long as we stay within that, then we are going to consolidate, keep consolidating over. But eventually this has got to turn. Will it turn up or will it turn down? I believe it'll turn down. We're making higher or lower highs. We got a high here, and now we've got a lower high. We got a lower high. Now we've got a lower high. Depends on what we do today, but anytime you have the Fed involved, if you look at this one, it went from right here up to right there. So that's 119 points that went on that one. And if we do the same, because usually when they pump, it's usually about 100 points. So that would actually put you back up to the 618 fib, which could easily happen. So we can easily hit that 618 fib and then bounce back down. That would go in line with this. So if you took a trend tool and just marked from here to here, let's see, along that line there, and then if we double that one, duplicate it, come on, oh, trend line, and then if we take that same one, if I can get on it, there it is, and we put it right here, that's going to put us right up to this pivot. Okay, so it don't have to be that exact one, but I'm going to leave that there just for giggles to see what would happen and see where we actually end up staying if we stay on that same trend level as far as trend line or whichever we do. So we'll just wait and see what happens with that. Then if we go to ES or GC, GC has been staying in this descending triangle for a while. With it staying in that descending triangle, I think that we'll probably end up pushing up to here. That'll be today, and then Friday, typical sell-off. This will actually come down. We'll probably break through. So with this one, I think that, the pattern actually shows that it's going to sell off. What you have to remember is the patterns have been not doing according to what some patterns are doing, and I think they're just doing trickery. Everybody's drawing these patterns out, and they're playing those patterns, but the market makers are coming in and saying, well, we're just going to fool you. We're just going to go ahead and run it up instead of dropping it out. So we'll have to see. I've been caught in a couple of these descending triangles, and they've actually went bullish instead of bearish. So wait till it pops out and starts going before you hop in. Either way, that way you're not in it too deep, or make sure you get a good stop on it where it's going the opposite way. It'll stop you out. So if you're doing the futures on this, I'm just scalping on the futures. By scalping on the futures, it's actually working out better for me than trying to do long, because the market makers are really controlling this in a different way right now. It's hard trading right now. So scalping is better. NG, this is a perfect example. I was in this trade here. So let me go back to like a 5 minute. You can see it better. But I was in this trade here, and everything right here says it's selling off. We had a base right here. So their support line was here. This is all coming down. I got in puts right. Actually, I got in puts right back in here because I was waiting on it to drop. I thought it would drop by the end of the day Friday, and it didn't. So I went ahead and held my puts over, and then they gapped up on Sunday, so it got me. So I went and held them because I thought it would hit this trend line and then bounce down. It actually went up. Kind of scared me. I was way down on it. I should have just sold them on Friday and took a little tiny hit, but I held them. But I had time on my side, so I held them. Right now, it's coming back down. I'm almost back to broke even. So that's actually a good feeling. What I lose right now is not a big deal if I have to sell it if it decided to take off. But that's a perfect example of what they have been doing. By all rights, by looking at this chart here, we were in a ascending broadening wedge pattern. So what I thought is it would hit here, and then it actually, when it hit here, if you look at this one, it come up, hit there, come down, tested, and then it dropped down. So I was in on this one, and I was in on this one, made good money there. And then when I got out, I think I got out right in here's where I got out, because I don't like to test it all the way to the top. It was consolidating. I got out, took my money, and then when you go back over to this one, it went up, touched there, which I didn't expect, but it did. And so whenever it touched there and it came down and then it started coming over, so this was acting just like this over here. So it come over, and then when it got right here, I thought that it would go ahead and come down to the 161 area where you had a trend line and you had a support line right here. So I thought it would just come down, touch that again, and I was going to ride it all the way down. Actually, I'm sorry. It come over, dropped down, then it come back up. Right here is this second hump, which would be here. And it consolidated over. I ended up getting inputs. I made some money right here. And then I got out down here. When it come back up, started coming back down, I got back in puts again because I thought here is where it would drop down, just like this one. Because this right here is the same thing as this right here. It's the exact same pattern. And so I just thought that it would go ahead and drop down, but instead it got to the, almost to the 200, and then it gapped up Sunday night and then run. There was some news out that they thought that it was going to go ahead and take off, but I did not know about that news. I wish I did. Hey, Billy, how you doing, buddy? Happy Thursday to you, too. And so it ended up going up. I wish I had sold here, or actually I wish I'd had calls, and that would have been a payday, very good payday, because I was in large on this in puts. So right now it's coming down. We'll see what it does on this 200. I'm hoping that it will go ahead and continue to drop down. If it does, then I win. If it doesn't, then I'm going to get out, take a little bit of a loss. I'll jump back in calls probably and just make up for it, because it won't take long to make up for that. So NG right now, I'm thinking that it's going to go ahead and continue down, but we are on that 200 right there. So being on this 200 right now, it could very easily pop up here, but I'm still bearish on it based on the patterns that we have, being the ascending broadening wedge pattern. This will eventually be a bearish sign and drop out. So that's what ascending broadening wedge pattern is. And we did break out right here, so can I still use this pattern? I can until it proves this pattern is not good. So when this trend line if it comes back up and breaks through it again, this pattern is no longer there. To have a big old spike like this right here and then to come right back down, I mean, this right here is a rally, base, drop. And to have that, I'll still use this pattern because that is just a surge that it had. Now, if this comes back up and tests that trend line and bounces down, I'll keep it. If it busts through it, I'll delete this pattern, because then it's no good. So that's how I use my patterns. NG, I really believe that it's probably going to come down. We're below this pivot. This 200 right now is our resistance line, and as soon as we break that, then that's when we're going to know. Then we go to the Qs. Qs are done about the same as ES. They have been actually running a little bit different than ES, which is not normal, but the Qs is still going up, but a lot of times they're going up a lot faster than what ES has been doing. So if you're going to be trading, you might want to trade the Qs because they're actually moving a little better. If we go to a 15-minute just to see what it did, it started at, what was that, 7 o'clock last night. Started at 7 o'clock and it's just run. So, and now this one does not have the head and shoulders pattern that we were talking about on ES. Let me go back to it. See, it's actually up the top. So ES is still down here, because you had right here's your shoulder, here's your head, and then right here is where ES is, where the Qs have just run. So the Qs was a better trade than what ES is. So it's actually been running harder than what ES has been doing. Now right now we're at that Fibonacci, the 786 Fibonacci, and if we kick back and look at a 4 hour, see it a little better. So we started from here to here, and now we're at that fib right now. So where are we going to go from here? Are we going to continue to go up, or are we going to drop back down to the trend line, to the 618 area? I'm not real sure yet. We have a we don't really have a pattern per se. You got a little bit of a channel right there, but it's only using two of the it's only using two touches, and I don't really like to use a pattern on two touches. I like to see three or more. If I see three, then I consider that a pattern. But right now, I don't really consider this a pattern yet. So if we look at this a little closer, we can see that it's actually running through that. So this right here is saying that it will go to there, which would actually go in line with what our the Fed's pumping today. That would actually go in line with that. So, you know, we could actually see this actually going up and touching to here today. I could easily see that and then pull back. But the pullback is what we're going to be concerned about. Are we going to pull back to this channel, or are we going to break this channel and come on through? So I'll leave this channel up there so we can look at it later. We also have crude oil. Crude oil has been running hard. Look what it did last night. Really took off. So in the last day, it has really rallied hard. So it started at 5 o'clock yesterday and just really took off. Or is that 5 on Tuesday? Sorry. I should have said this is a week ago. Get my times here. But a week ago it took off, and then we had a little pullback right here, and then it just ran again. Come down, had a little pullback, and now we're running again. So crude oil and all the oil companies, the oil drilling companies and stuff like that seem to be doing better now. Our June crude oil is $26 now, so you know it's coming back. They wanted to see at least $20, and then we'll go from there. But we haven't got there yet. We'll look at it in a minute. So as far as the crude oil, looks pretty good. Would I be in the trade right here? Probably not. Not with that big old spike, because it's probably gonna have a little pullback. So this is a 1 hour chart, so it's just ran all night. So the Feds are really involved in the market right now. The dollar is continually going up, which is a sign that there's some false information. With the dollar going up, that probably means that our market is still dropping. When the dollar is going up, the market will usually drop. But since the Feds are pumping it, that kind of manipulates the whole system. So the dollar, if you're into trading Forex and stuff, which I trade Forex every now and then. I haven't in the last few weeks, but Forex, if you're going like the USD CAD, then you can see that we're just dropping right now. Nothing is actually correlating with each other like it normally does. We've just been going sideways on that. This is the 1 hour chart. If we look at this, we are looking at we've just been running right on through here. So that's not very much difference in there. So, we may end up bouncing right here, may come down. I'm not really sure what it's going to do. So if we go back, see, I did all of the futures, which is mainly what I like to work with. We'll look at a few others. Look at some Walmart here. I haven't looked at Walmart in the last day or so. We actually sold off. I almost got in calls last Friday, which was right here. And actually it was right here. And I put an order in. I thought it would drop really hard at the end of the day. So I put an order in to where I could catch it and ride it up. But it didn't fill, so I didn't get in Walmart. Missed that whole run right there. Coming down right now, where it's going to go now, as long as the market is going up, Walmart will usually do the opposite and go down. So we'll just have to wait and see. Visa, Billy, here you go. Visa is running with the market. It was selling off, but we had a pump last night, so then it took off. So that actually hurt me. So I'm hoping that today the market will end up start selling off, and it would sell off all through tomorrow. I'd like to see this get way down to the 171 range as far as in puts. But as long as they are pumping that market, these will go up. And that goes in line with what I said in the beginning. When the Feds are pumping the futures, all of these equities follow along. So no one even traded Visa last night. It was untradeable. Yet it jumps up. That's called manipulation, guys. Visa was not even in play It's all computer generated. So if the futures are up, the computers automatically make all of the prices of the equities go up as well, which is not right. Not right at all. So we'll just have to wait and see on what happens with Visa. Visa is actually a good company. It should be going up, but yeah, it's all manipulated. USO, people are still playing that. I don't play USO anymore, but it's going up. As long as crude oil is going up, it's going to go up. And look at Tesla. Tesla's just going sideways. So again, if you look at this, you have a zone running right through here. So until it breaks out of this, then it's hard to say. It is staying above the pivot. This could easily take off either way, but I would say it's probably going to go up. We had a big drop where Elon said, Tesla shares are too expensive, and then everybody sells it off. That little tweet that he did cost people so much money, because there's a lot of people that never sold right here, and then all of a sudden, boom. So just because he tweeted that it's too high, I don't know why any person in a company would say that their stock price is too high. It just makes no sense. That boy, there's a two words, genius and simpleton, and they are so close together that you could actually cross over to the other one very easily. And this was a simpleton right here. When he tweeted that, that was a simpleton. So I don't get big business, I guess. TLT, this is the bonds. Again, when the feds are pumping, this should be going up, but it's not. So on Monday, they were pumping bonds, and look what happened. So, that tells me that, the feds are not pumping bonds per se. They're pumping the futures market. And when they're pumping that, the bonds drop. I'd love to see this just keep on dropping out. If this went on down to the 145s, I'd love it. I've got puts on this, so that I would make a lot of money on it. SPY, it's the same thing as the ES. You have your shoulder here, you got your head, you got your shoulder here. So it depends on what it's going to do there. Now we had this one drawn out a long time ago from way back. So if we go, let's see, we go to a 4-hour chart. So we've had this drawn out from here. So we are in a major resistance level here. We broke out of it there, but we come right back down. We touched it, and we just been touching across the top. So this is where we're hanging out. So today, will we break this and keep on going, or will we pull back? I think that we might come back up to this again, or maybe even touch up in here again. But I think it's just going to pull right back. So I'm looking for a huge bear market. I've been looking at it for a while, but everything that we're going through, the way the market is, I just don't understand how, our stocks and everything can keep on going up when our economy is in a shamble right now. There's going to be so many people filing bankruptcy this year that if they haven't already started, I'm saying they've already started. A lot of small businesses can't make it. And there is, I posted a link in my Discord group talking about the kind of common sense with this COVID virus thing going on. If you stay so clean, your immune system is going to break down. So anyway, that's another story, but we won't get into that on here. We have Roku. Roku's just been going sideways for a while. It looks like it's probably, we might come up and touch this top again up here, double top and come down. In my opinion, Roku should have been going up because everybody's buying those Roku devices, staying home watching TV and stuff like that. So, I just don't understand why Roku has not really taken off a lot more. If we go back to the 1 hour, 4 hours too much. So when we're looking at this, we're actually touching the 618 there. If we come back over in here, we're breaking through a little bit. Are we going to sell off today, or are we going to keep on going? My opinion is we'll probably pump up until the Feds quit pumping, and then it's going to sell off. So we've got earnings coming up. When is that? That's today after market. Is that right? Yeah, today after market. So with it going to have earnings today, I'd say with this thing continually going up, we're probably going to have bad earnings and probably sell off. It's kind of typical. NVIDIA, same thing. It's Roku and is doing the same. I thought that it would actually break out this ascending triangle and then take off, but it actually broke out and then it come up. It's been running kind of like Apple's been running. Apple dropped through, which we'll go over. Apple dropped through the channel it was in, and it's been running along the bottom side of it. Netflix has been going up. It had to wait until my options expired on that. I bought them right before the earnings, and I was trying to sell before, but it didn't get sold, and then it took off, and I thought, well, I'm glad it didn't sell, and then it sold off ever since. So it is just now getting back to about where it was the day the earnings come out. But as you know, over time is your enemy on options. So the longer the time, the less value it has, and I had a short option anyway, so that is probably just going to go to nothing. The cruise lines, they sold off hard. They're all talking about that they're not going to be able to survive and this and that. My personal opinion is that was a good reason to get it down, to get try to get the government involved with it, which we should not, because they're not even paying taxes in the United States. Let them, fend for themselves. But I think that was just a good way to get it dropped back down. We are on this the same level pretty much as what we were. So if we look at let's see, from here to here, we were in that same area of before. So since we're there, what will happen from here? I think that it will actually probably go up. We are above that trend line now. I think it's just going to rally up. So I might even buy some calls on that today, and or maybe tomorrow, because tomorrow's probably going to drop off a little more. Might come back down to the $10 range, 1067 area. And if we drop down to there, then I might go ahead and get some long calls on it, because I think that they'll actually come out of it. The news is real bad. They're talking about, just trying to get the price down, talking about how it may bankrupt and so forth. So, that's probably a reason to buy calls, to be honest. Do the opposite of the media and the news, and usually you'll come out better. You've got Microsoft. We've been talking about it for several days, just keep on going up. Microsoft's a good company. Bill Gates is getting a lot of bad attention right now, though. So you never know. If he's getting the bad attention, of course he did step down from Microsoft, but he's still affiliated with Microsoft. So we'll have to see on that one. Lyft, who got in earnings with me? A bunch in our Discord group was getting inputs, and I said, this thing has sold off all the way up to the day of earnings. And with all the news, they're talking about how it's going to be bad and this and that. So I played against the odds, and I played calls. And I normally don't buy earnings, but one guy in our group said if if everything says calls on it, then maybe I should buy calls. So I went and bought calls. And their puts are worthless, and my calls are great. So, play against the odds. If you're playing with everybody else, you're probably going to lose. So I played against, and I played against on LVS as well. Same thing. It was the exact same setup. So today my calls, I think I paid 67 cents a piece for them. They should be worth around $4 or $5 today. And I've already got a sell in for $4. So as soon as it opens, then hopefully it'll sell for that. If they're worth more than that, they'll sell for more. But I've got it at a lower amount, so when it opens, they should just sell, and I should make about 400% on them. That's what I'm hoping. It depends on the IV crush and everything, but I need to sell right at opening to get my money. Got Kohl's. Kohl's has been coming down. That's popped up because of the following the Fed pump last night. But with Kohl's, they haven't had a store open in months. Why they went up? That's just, the stocks don't make sense sometimes. Intel is going up right now. I thought Intel would actually drop down because they're losing that Apple contract. So with them losing that, that's going to be a big hit taking on that company. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with it. Right now it's showing bullish. Google, I got at it a long time ago. It's still going up. I think eventually, when the market gets open and everything, Google is probably going to take off. So long term, I'd say it's probably pretty good. Disney, there were some people buying Disney stock yesterday in our group, and I told them that I didn't really see it. I thought it would actually probably sell off. Right now, we are trading at 101. They were getting in around 103 or so. I think Disney, I think we're going to see the back down here to, let me get back to it. I think Disney's going to see the $79 again. And if you look at this, it's been staying in this base right here, or its channel. And if we delete this channel and make it where you can see it better, we have been staying right, really about right here is where we've been staying. And we're on the downside of it. We're above that pivot there, but I think that we're probably going to keep on selling off. My strategy of trading shows that it's going to come down, so we'll just have to wait and see it. Being at the bottom of this zone, then it could easily pop back up here because it's been actually in that channel right there. So we'll just have to wait and see, is it going to come out of there, or or go up and stay in it, or is it going to drop out? I personally think it's going to drop out. I think we're going to start seeing a sell-off come down. Their earnings were way down. I think it was like 58% or so. So I think that we're going to probably come on out of that. We have bind. Bind is just like, there's no way I'd be in bind right now because it's like a skyscraper. You got this going straight up like that. Just no way I'd be in it. I think bind is going to be good long term, but I think it's going to have a good pullback before I would get in again, because this shot up. There's going to be a lot of people taking profit, which you can see right here. There's a lot of profit being taken right there. So, is it going to stay above the pivot or below? Bind will typically go against the market. It usually doesn't follow it. Sometimes it does, but for the most part, it has its own way of thinking. BA has just been selling off. I thought that BA would actually taken off here, but it's actually sold off. I've lost money on BA. So I won't trade it for a while. I just picked the wrong direction. Amazon has been going sideways for a while. If you look here, this zone area, we have been staying pretty much within this area. So Amazon has not been real good for directional calls. There's some people trading with some credit spreads and stuff in our group. This would be a good one that you could get in and make some money on if you're wanting to go sideways. But we're at that point of, are we going to stay that way or not? So Amazon, just not real sure yet. It's kind of going back and forth. You have AMD. I almost bought AMD calls. When was that? Or did I? No, I did buy AMD calls yesterday. And I think that it'll actually pop out today. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. It sold off at the end of the day, which I wish I'd have bought the calls here and then went on. But I ended up buying, I think, right on through here. And I was positive on it and almost sold them because I'd take the money. But I went ahead and held them. I bought them a month out, so got plenty of time. I think AMD will actually probably pop out, and probably next week is when it'll actually pop. Let's see here. So we got Apple. See how it come out of that channel, and it's just been going up ever since. I almost bought Apple yesterday as well, and I didn't. I started seeing this little pullback right here, so I went ahead and held off. I meant to get in at the end of the day, and honestly, I just forgot. But Apple, I think, is still long-term bullish on it. American Airlines, Warren Buffett destroyed that when he said he pulled all of his money out. This right here is Warren Buffett. And will it come back? Yeah, of course it will. Right now, Warren Buffett is probably buying the crap out of it. And, maybe not today, maybe tomorrow or next week, but I think he'll be back in. And when he announces that he's bought it, after he's bought it, then the stocks will start rallying because everybody wants to buy it too. So that's where we are with that. Billy wanted me to hit WIN. I think WIN in time is going to be bullish. Right now, if you bought something like long calls or something, might be okay. I'm just not big into swinging that much right now. when you're going to long calls, I think that the way our market has not really moved the strength that needs to move, this is where you make money on long calls or long puts, and this right here. But when you start going like this, it's hard to make money on those because you have so much up and down. You can make money, but I think that if right now scalping is your best money, so if you buy scalps, then like right here, if you got in, bought the puts and held them, until yesterday or so forth, you could have made a lot of money there. Right now, it looks like it's actually bouncing, but this is the Fed pump. When that Fed gets out, then this is going to drop. So what I would do is wait till toward the end of the day today, when you start seeing a change, then I would probably get into puts and just ride it out until either the same day or ride it out until next week. I'm not big on swinging right now. The market's just moving erratic. So we take this back out. Right now, we're still in the 1 hour, and we're just continually going up. I think that today we're probably going to probably up until about noon or so, maybe a little later, and then I think it'll probably start selling off. So that's where we are with the ES. Look at NG real quick. NG had a little pop right there, but I think NG will end up selling off today. We'll just have to wait and see. So that's the end of our market brief. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're interested in our Discord group, there's a link down there, SpyMoneyLLC.com, tell you more about it. Also, there's courses online that you can buy and teach the strategies. I'm getting ready to upload a charting course, and they'll teach you how to draw the charts and so forth. So look for that. Probably I'll try to get it done this weekend. There's a lot to it, so I'm trying to do that. And I'm also got another one that teach you how to use the Thinkorswim the way I use it. I'm very well versed on Thinkorswim, and I'm putting together a video, not of everything about Thinkorswim. I mean, there's the TD Ameritrade, they have a lot of videos on how to set it up and all that, but there's a lot of things they don't teach you, and it's a lot of the tips and tricks, like how to have your trend line or your drawing tools up here, and how to maneuver around the charts and stuff. There's a lot of things they don't teach that you just have to figure out, and I'm going to put together a course on that. It's not going to be very much, probably around $50 for the course. It'd be well worth it if you're going to use Thinkorswim, because I go over how to set up your watch list, scanners, everything. And there's just so much to Thinkorswim that it's a great platform. It's not great for futures because it's a little slow, a little lagging, but for the most part, it's actually a really good trading platform. If you're going to be buying options long term, you're not, scalping it actually works good for equity, but when you go into futures to try to scalp future contracts, or future options, it's a little bit harder, because like when you go into it, there's no market order. Where if you go into equities, you can click a market order. So it actually works really good. But anyway, there's different courses on there. I'm sure you can find one to help you. If you're looking for something, if you got a small account, you're wanting to do futures, there's two good ones on there, future contracts and future options. Future contracts is kind of like equities, buying and selling, buy low, sell high. Options is real similar to the equity options. So hopefully that'll help you. Please like, share, and subscribe, and I will see you guys on another day. Have a great day.